Helo, croeso i sgwrsiau ar arweinyddiaeth a gyflwynir gan Academi Wales. Ar ein podlediad, rydyn ni'n gwahodd gwestion i siarad am eu taith arweinyddol ac yn myfyrddio a rhai'r ysbrydolaethau a'r gwersi maen nhw wedi dysgu ar hyd y ffordd. Hello, welcome to Conversations on Leadership, hosted by Academi Wales. On our podcast, we invite guests to talk about their leadership journey and reflect on some of the inspirations and lessons they've learnt along the way. For this special episode, Molly sits down with some of the Summer School 2024 facilitators to find out more about their facilitation journey, their relationship with Academi Wales, and their reflections on summer school. First of all, Molly speaks to Alex.
So thank you so much for joining us. To begin, have you been a facilitator for Academi Wales at summer school before? And if so, for how long?
Yes, I have. This will be the 9th time I've facilitated. So 10 years ago, I went as a participant, and I've been lucky enough to be a facilitator ever since.
9 years is a good track record. I bet you've seen a lot in 9 years.
I have, and it's been fascinating. It's one of the highlights of the years. I feel really privileged to be a facilitator at summer school, and I've learned so much and been able to apply that into my workplace.
And what is it that keeps bringing you back, and what do you enjoy about facilitating at summer school?
I think the summer school environment of learning and people growing is just a great place to be. I think what brings me back to facilitating is having the opportunity to watch people grow, to watch people learn, to really explore themselves and be prepared to challenge themselves and think about doing things differently.
And do you have a highlight or a key takeaway from your previous experiences at summer school? I'm sure there's quite a few, having done it for 9 years, but
there is a lot, and there's some speakers that still stay with me now from 4, 5, 6 years ago who I'd still quote. But I think reflecting on this, last year I came away with a strong sense about the importance of diversity and inclusion, and it was the first one that had been back face to face after a couple had been online, and it was such an inspiring event. It was great to have people together. They were all keen and ready to learn, and all of the speakers just reflected that need for us to think about different generations, different people, bringing them into the workforce and helping them to get the best outcomes, because by having a diverse workforce and valuing our people, we will be more productive and be able to do great things.
And thinking about this year's summer school, was there anything unique or different about the application group facilitation?
So it was a smaller cohort this year, and the facilitation we did included more time in the outdoors, and it was more linked, I think, to the sessions. And I think that worked well. I think people got a lot out of using the outdoors and using all of the spaces and being able to reflect either as a whole group, on their own, and in pairs.
We had some amazing feedback about the application groups and having that time to reflect. So that's something we'll definitely take forward. Were there any key pieces of learning you've taken from this year's summer school?
Yeah, I think what really resonated through all of the speakers, they were talking about a whole load of different subjects, but a lot came back to understanding yourself and connecting to the self, really knowing yourself, knowing what's important to you. So when, all the way from Kelly, who was talking about burnout, and across the whole plethora of coaching and the range of workshops, it really got into the heart of knowing yourself and understanding yourself is a key to being productive and being at your best in the workplace, and allowing team members and allowing people to really be able to be aligned with their values.
And was there any insights that you gained from your application group?
So reflecting on this, that the application group were really diverse. So it was interesting to see them grow and be respectful of a wide range of opinions and perspectives and backgrounds. And I think what came through really strongly was about how values resonated with all of them from wherever they came from, whatever their priorities were. And we spent quite a lot of time talking about values and their importance, and how really using them as as your strengths, as your resources to see if take you forward would be really useful. So that was really interesting. We had some good conversations around that.
And lastly, do you have any advice for people considering developing their facilitation knowledge or skills?
So I think facilitation is one of my favourite things that I do. It just, the reward you get from allowing a group to grow and just let the conversation go is really rewarding. My advice, I would say, is just don't be too rigid. Allow it to move, because people will never respond the way you think you'll respond, and being able to give that space and not worrying about intervening too much, giving people the space and enabling them to think, and just putting different opportunities for that learning in front of them, because people will take that up and they'll learn and they'll grow, and people will do that themselves. So not to feel you're too responsible to drive it, just be there to guiding hand on the tiller.
Thank you so much for sharing all your insights and ideas and learning. I hope you've enjoyed the experience.
Thank you, Molly. Thank you for your time.
In this next clip, we'll hear from Mike.
Thank you for joining us. So to begin with, have you been a facilitator for Academi Wales at summer school before? And if so, for how long?
Yeah, so this is my seventh year, but it's spread over probably around about 15 years, because I facilitated first, then there was a big gap, then I came back the year of COVID, so did 2 years online, and I've done 4 face-to-face. So it's 7 years, but it's over a period of about 15.
Was it very different to do it online than the face-to-face ones?
It was, but I was really surprised, because it was better than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, really? That's good to hear.
One of the good thing about summer school is the personal interaction, and I thought we were going to miss out on that. But the way they developed the programme, it worked. So I was quite surprised that I got to know my facilitation group quite well, even though we never met face to face.
Yeah.
So it worked.
Good. What is it that keeps bringing you back, and what do you enjoy about facilitating at summer school?
It's probably the highlight of my work year. So I've retired once and come back, so I'm working part-time anyway, but it's one of those years that's always really, I suppose, life-affirming, because you see people going on a journey.
Yeah.
And it's, I think, better now, because back in the day, so I was lucky that when I very first came, people used to be sent to summer school. And we'd have a lot of people who didn't really want to be here.
Yeah.
So that was quite difficult. But even then, by the end of the week, they always got something out of it. Whereas now, because people are applying for it and they really want to come, they're already in a positive frame of mind before they get here. But I think it's even seeing these people who are positive and looking at their work life and seeing them change over the week. And sometimes it can even be as life-changing as some people have said, when I go back, I'm gonna hand in my notice, because I've realised that I've been head down and I'm in the wrong job.
Yeah, it's amazing to hear those things, isn't it? Because it's kind of one of those experiences where it's really hard to describe. You kind of have to see it to believe it, and to hear people say like life-changing is really amazing. And
I've yet to come across anyone who said that they've gone away from summer school with nothing.
No, yeah.
Everyone has said, I've got a new way of interacting with the team. I've had a particular nutty problem that I haven't been able to crack over the years, that I've now got a new strategy to work on it. And sometimes one of the most important things I've heard is people saying, I've realised that the problem wasn't them, it was me.
Yeah.
And they've realised that, they've had some issues with the way they've been working and interacting, and they're going to change when they go back.
Yeah. Do you have a highlight or key takeaway from your previous experiences at summer school?
I can't think of one highlight. I just think they've all been really, really good. Just reflecting them, and you can remember there'll be key points from each one of them that you just think, oh, that was fantastic. But there's not one that sticks out as saying that was better than any other year we've done.
Yeah.
I think they're all good.
And is there a particular speaker or topic which you're excited to learn more about this year?
So Emmanuel Gobbio is, I've seen him like a few times now, and he's always fantastic.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to hearing him. And Neil Malarkey.
Yes.
I'm really looking forward to listening to Neil Malarkey and his journey, using comedy as, teaching leadership and stuff like that, using comedy. And I've caught up in a couple of his YouTube videos about the stuff that he's doing outside his comedy. And that's going to be really interesting, I think.
Yeah. And what do you hope to take away from this week in terms of insights, new ideas, or new ways of thinking?
I never come to summer school with a view of what am I going to take away. And I suppose I can't answer that question because you don't know until it's happened. Because it's different when you're a participant. These people have filled in the forms, they've worked out what their outcomes are, what they're hoping to get. I think with the facilitators, our focus is on making it easier for the participants to get what they want out of it.
Yeah.
Whereas we're not coming here to try and get anything out of it ourselves other than their success.
Yeah.
But when you look back on it, you've always taken something away. There's always something new that I've learned. Like last year we had Andy Cope talking about his journey as a father, and how he realised that the way he was interacting with his children based on working really, really hard, and that hit home with me.
Yeah.
I look back at me when we were bringing up our children, and I was thinking I was exactly the same. And so the first thing I went back the first thing I did when I went back was speak to my son, because I could see some of those habits in him interacting with his children.
Yeah.
And I was saying, look, you need to read this book. You need, it's not too late. Do it now and don't make the mistakes that I made. So it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's amazing what you'll learn. Thank you for chatting with me today. It's great to get to know you a bit better, and we'll be catching up again at the end of the week to talk about your reflections.
Look forward to it.
Thank you.
And just like that, we're sitting down with Mike again to reflect on his Summer School 2024 experience. Thank you so much for joining us again. To begin, was there anything unique or different about the application group facilitation this year at Summer School?
Well, the big thing for me was I had to change facilitation groups halfway through summer school because one of the tutors was taken unwell. And I think that my main reflection on that, it was how welcoming both groups were. Because you'll understand, one of the first things facilitators have to do is gain some sort of rapport with the group. And I gained rapport with my original group, and then vice versa. So I had the facilitation group that I had to take over. And it was just as uncomfortable for them, I should imagine, to have to halfway through building a relationship and, having your route through summer school plotted, to have that ripped up and some new interloper dropped in the middle of it. And the reflection was how welcoming they were and how understanding, because it could have been really difficult, because it's one of those things that can either make or break a summer school. Is the relationship with the facilitators and your group, and they were really, really nice, really pleasant, and yet again a lovely group.
Yeah, it is interesting, like you said, like that. It can make or break a group. It's really important part of summer school, isn't it? The facilitation and the networking you get through that. So I think that is a particularly unique experience that you had then.
It is, and I think not only is that support between the facilitators and the group, but you see it really quickly, the support within the group. They become almost like a team really, really quickly, and you see them, socializing together. You see them drinking coffee together. And these people have probably, in most cases, have never met each other before. Within a couple of hours, or at least within the first day, are really, really good friends. And a lot of those relationships continue after summer school finishes.
Yeah, it's really special. What are the key pieces of learning you took from that week?
I think one of the main things for me was the injection of humour that
Neil Malarkey?
Yeah, I just loved his take on how improv comedy can be used in situations, personal situations, work situations, leadership situations, and those little hints and tips that he gave us about receiving comments or advice or even unpleasant feedback and then using that positively. I thought that was one of my biggest learning points for the week, I think.
Yeah.
And I think it made it because of the injection of humour that he put in. He's a funny guy.
Yeah, and it was quite different to previous summer schools to have him there, and like you said, the injection of comedy I think was a great thing to end on for the week. I think it was a really good experience for everyone.
Yeah.
We touched on how your facilitation group was a unique experience. Were there any insights that you gained from your application groups, or even just the process of having to switch?
I think it was more of confirmation of what I already knew. Everyone is just so supportive. They're so welcoming. They're so supportive. It's a real reflection on public services. These people come into work to help people, and so even in the facilitation groups, it's that I don't know, that feeling of these people want to help, and therefore they want to learn to be able to help better. Is the key thing that it's almost like it goes through every summer school, and it was definitely confirmed this year.
And lastly, do you have any advice for people considering developing their facilitation knowledge or skills?
But number one, do it, because it definitely is so rewarding. I mean, it's rewarding from two sides, and there's the reward of what you get out of it. So from a summer school perspective, I think I said in the first interview, and when all the facilitators meet and we feedback, etc., it's probably one of the highlights of our year that we always look forward to. We always block out in our diaries, and we really look forward to it because we get so much out of it, as well as hopefully the facilitation groups. But I think the other thing is the reward you get from seeing people being able to move on by using their own knowledge. Because the art of facilitation is getting people to move on their own. So you don't give them the answers, it's you teasing the answers out of them. So they already hold that knowledge. So how do you get that knowledge out of them without telling them what to do? And often it's that delight when you see the light bulb going on and they think, oh, I knew that and I can do it.
Yeah.
So if anyone's thinking about facilitation, I would definitely highly recommend it.
Thank you so much again for sharing your insights and learning. I hope you've enjoyed the experience.
As usual, yes. And I hope they let me come back again next year.
I'll put in a good word.
Thanks, Molly. Thanks a lot.
And finally, here's Sam.
So thank you so much for joining us. To begin, have you been a facilitator for Academi Wales at summer school before? And if so, for how long?
So yes, I have. This is actually my 7th year with Academi Wales. And my first experience at summer school was 8 years ago when I came as an applicant. So yes.
Oh, that must be quite interesting going from like delegate to facilitator.
Yeah, so absolutely. My first experience with Academi Wales at summer school was literally life-changing. It was just so brilliant to have all the public services in one room and to really understand the collective strength that we can all have when we come together.
Yeah.
So it just blew my mind. I was working in housing at that point in time. Yeah, and it just blew my mind and was something that I want to be part of. So
it's so amazing to hear things like that. What is it that keeps bringing you back, and what do you enjoy about facilitating at summer school?
Okay, so what keeps me coming back is the intensive learning that you get, the fantastic speakers, very thought-provoking, really get you to think about what you're doing and how you could do it better through greater collaboration. I think also meeting people as well, meeting people in different parts of the sector. That is really important. I'm a great believer in the strength of the whole. Yeah, so that's been amazing. I've made lots of connections over the years and have really worked those relationships for the mutual benefit of the public that we serve. So that's been, brilliant.
And do you have a highlight or key takeaway from your previous experiences at summer school?
Oh my gosh, there were lots.
Hard to pick one.
Hard to pick one, yes. I think the first one was probably the most inspirational because it wasn't something that I'd experienced before.
Yes.
And it was almost like a light bulb going on.
We say that a lot with summer school. It's kind of hard to describe what it is until you go there, and then people do say they have like these life-changing experiences or things like that.
So I think, you know, there's lots of speakers that stand out in my memory. Jane Casey, I mean, the stories that she told and just kind of how she walks in other people's shoes and the raw kind of reality of what she's seen and experienced and what she's trying to change, and the courage that she's shown through that she really kind of stands out for me as a speaker. I really enjoy Emmanuel Gobolo as well. I think, you know, his talks are always really interesting, fun, engaging, and he really, you know, gives you insights into leadership and how it can be done differently. So I really enjoy his talks as well.
And obviously we have Emmanuel here again this year.
Yes.
Is there a particular speaker or a topic which you're excited to learn more about this year?
So really looking forward to Emmanuel, particularly around, you know, adapting and achieving in uncertain times. It's very uncertain at the moment. I work in the health service, so that's, you know, lots of scrutiny being placed on the health service. So really interested in understanding more about what he can bring to the discussion around that. What else? So there's also a speaker who's talking about how to get managers to be coaches. Again, you know, coaching is something that I'm really passionate about and have seen what difference that makes to people and their lives and their capability and how to do that in a sustainable way. So looking forward to that as well.
And what do you hope to take away from this week in terms of insights or new ideas, new ways of thinking?
So I always come with a really open mind. I don't come with any preconceived ideas other than I know that I'm going to go away with lots of information, lots of inspiration, and lots of things that I can share when I get back with other people who haven't been as fortunate to come and experience this for themselves. So it really is those connections, that learning, and then that time away from the workplace to be able to download and sense make and think about, okay, so how am I going to take this forward? How will I make a difference?
Yeah. Well, thank you for chatting with me today. It's been great to know you a bit better. We'll be catching up again at the end of the week, and we'll talk about your reflections of Summer School 2024. So thank you.
Thank you.
And just like that, we're sitting down again with Sam to reflect on their Summer School 2024 experience. So thank you so much for joining us again, Sam. To begin, was there anything unique or different about the application group facilitation this year at Summer School?
Well, I think it's always unique and different in that the individuals who comprise the group are always unique and different and individual, and that gave a real sense of learning, difference, diversity. So it was really great to work with such a diverse range of people with different backgrounds and different organisations. I think in terms of the way that the application groups were set up, that worked really well this year, I think. The use of the outdoors, the walking and thinking and downloading, I think that worked really well and people really valued that. So yes, well done to Academi Wales for another great setup of getting ready to learn and downloading the So What.
That's great to hear. What are the key pieces of learning you felt like you've taken from this week?
Oh gosh. So it's very rich in learning, as it always is. I think for me, that whole kind of keeping centered was something that I took away. And right from, you know, Emmanuel Gobolo's discussion about the wobble board and, you know, how to keep yourself thinking about all aspects but centered. I think Kelly Swingler's session on self-centered approach and making sure that, again, you know, you keep your balance, you keep ensuring you understand what's bringing you joy and cut out the things that are not, because if you don't, then how can you support other people and be at your very best? So yeah, that was a key theme that came through, along with the workshops as well. We did a brilliant exercise that was around your life journey and what you've done and how that has got you to where you are, what those significant things were and what drove you. So all back to values and purpose and, So yeah, it reinforced the need to keep your stability and the need to do work that's in line with your values, that brings you joy, because that's when you'll be at your very best.
And what insights did you gain from your application group?
Oh, that's a really good one. Lots. So I think in terms of how to go back and apply the learning, the insights were around how challenging the sector is at the moment, the public sector, and time is of, you know, great essence, isn't it? And how, if we don't carve out that time for the important things, we'll get consumed by the time doing unimportant things. So I think, you know, one of the key takeaways for us all as a group was to be purposeful in how we spend our time. The connection of people together, you know, one of the insights we forget, don't we, in a virtual world, what fantastic magic happens when people come together and kind of open up, and you get that real sense of we're in it together, let's support each other to do our best. So yeah, it was just really rich learnings, as always, from the people who I had the privilege of supporting through that week.
Yeah. And just lastly, do you have any advice for people considering developing their facilitation knowledge or skills?
Just to say that it is a real privilege to be part of somebody's learning journey is a real privilege, and to be really respectful of that, and to take the time to think about how do you create a safe environment for people to open up, to share, to ask questions. It's not about you as the facilitator, you're not at the centre. This is about creating the environment for other people to learn, to do what they need to do, by thinking about really insightful questions and sequencing of things. I think that they would be some top tips. Always to check in as well in terms of, you know, how is this landing? How is this working for you? So very, very much centered on the people, not on you as a facilitator. And also, you know, the importance of ground rules at the beginning. What do people need in order to do their best work within that group, and keeping a check as a facilitator that is being upheld by the group, and being flexible, I guess, as well, not being rigid with structure, just going where the group wants to go, whilst having a bit of a roadmap in terms of where you want to take them as well. But it's, you know, it's such a privilege, and I'd encourage anybody to kind of really get the skills needed to be a good facilitator, of which listening is really important as well. So listening, observing, asking those insightful questions to further people's thinking in that space.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing all your insights and ideas and learning. I hope you've enjoyed the experience.
As always, it's been fantastic. Thank you, Molly.
Mae ein podlediad sgwrsiau ar arweinyddiaeth ar gael drwy ein gwefan. Mae hawlfront y podlediad yma yn cael ei gadw gan Lywodraeth Cymru. Our Conversations on Leadership podcast is available through our website. This recording is copyright of Welsh Government.